Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another eMarketeer Academy webinar. I am looking forward to taking you through one of the core functionalities of eMarketeer today, namely the forms builder. And we will deep dive into a lot of the cool things you can do with the forms editor and with the forms feature in general in eMarketeer. So I'm psyched to get going, so let's rock and roll. You should be seeing my screen and slides and hopefully hearing my voice. I take it that all of these technicalities are out of the way. So looking at forms and how to build forms, which can turn into surveys or webinar registrations or event registrations or anything where you want to capture an input from one of your contacts. It could be a prospect, a customer, an employee. It doesn't matter really, as long as you want to capture information and use that information for getting insights or maybe automatically reacting to some of the answers that you're getting there. My name is Klaus. I work in the marketing team, and I do a lot of these webinars where I try to inspire you on how you can be your best using eMarketeer and how you can align your sales and marketing efforts to really be a smooth running machine and get the most out of your marketing dollars, euros, Swedish crowns, or whatever, and most importantly, out of your time. We're scheduled to be 45 to 60 minutes on the webinar, depending on how many questions you guys have. And I encourage you to send me your questions using the questions box on your screen. Other participants won't be able to see your name. They won't be able to see what you ask. I may read your question out loud, but don't be shy. It's just a lot more interactive and interesting for everybody if you guys shoot me your questions. If there are questions that I can't answer or that I don't have time for, I promise you that I will get back to you directly via email. So it's not in vain. Do send me your questions. Observations, feedback. If you have any ideas for me, shoot. The questions box is open for you, and you are anonymous while you do so for the rest of the participants here. We're also recording the webinar, and you will get the slides afterwards, so don't be too hung up on where I click and what I do. You will have the ability to look at the recording and share the recording with your colleagues as well, who may be using eMarketeer or whom this may be interesting to. So, as mentioned, we will do a product training session today where we will deep dive into the forms editor and maybe unearth some of the lesser known features of the forms editor that gives you some pretty cool features that you may not be aware of. Some of this, if you're an eMarketer user, will absolutely be old news. You will have seen it before, but I'm pretty sure that you haven't touched all of the different aspects of what we'll be covering today. So bear with me if you think some of this is a bit basic, but we will definitely get to some of the more hidden nuggets there as well. If you're not familiar with eMarketeer, we are a Swedish company based just outside Stockholm. We've been around since 2002 as a cloud-based marketing automation platform. And what that really means is that you have a lot of different tools in eMarketeer where you can build, design, execute, and measure on your marketing projects. So a lot of different components helping you do your newsletters, your surveys, mobile web apps, landing pages, and so on. You can report on everything you do. You can create dashboards, and most importantly, you can automate on everything that eMarketeer tracks. So whatever people click or open or answer, you can automate email flows, responses to your sales team, responses back to your contacts, and so on. So just a lot of different tools available there for you. And this is interesting, even though we're just talking forms like web forms, contact forms, surveys, evaluations, registrations forms, because these forms don't live in isolation, right? You need emails to send these forms and invitations out. Maybe you want to send forms or surveys via text messages. Maybe you want to include them in your mobile apps or put them on your landing pages. And you want to make sure that you can score based on what people answer and that you have a dashboard where you can see how your performance is going with your surveys and so on. So even though we're just looking at forms and surveys, just the fact that you have everything in a platform is really neat for you as a user. So I just wanted to highlight that. Obviously, we won't go into all of the features of eMarketeer today. So let's get straight to it and talk surveys and forms in eMarketeer, and let's start looking at some of these features that the form builder and the associated components around it have for you. So first off, let's get a little bit familiar with the forms editor, just so we know our way around what's in there. So let's just go into to eMarketeer and create in my campaign a new form, just to get started easily. So we'll do a demo form. Great name always. And here you have your different templates, just like you're familiar with, lots of different types of form templates for you to use. I'm just going to choose a basic sign up form and create my form from that. Then I'm entering the forms editor. And just let's get acquainted with the anatomy here of the editor. So I'm going to zoom in and focus on the left-hand panel here, where you have the ability to add new questions, form items. So you can add text and images, you can add radio buttons, checkboxes, drop lists, and so on. A lot of different question types that are good for different purposes. Ratings, multi-text, the contact registration is pretty neat, because when you have that in your form, it will create a new contact in your eMarketeer database, or it will match and update an existing contact so we don't create duplicates. We also have a consent question type. Obviously, in this day and age with GDPR, you want to make sure that you have people's consent to store their information and to market to them. And eMarketeer can capture that in the consent question type. So you always have tabs on who has given you consent. Then you can add more form pages. So if you would like your forms to be spread out across several pages, you can just click the plus sign here and you will get additional questions. It's a nice tip if you're building a long survey. Break it apart into different pages so it doesn't look very, very long in the browser when your recipient is entering the survey. You have some system pages, we'll get back to those, and then you can change the appearance, the design, the colors, fonts, the header, the footer, and basically you can go to town and edit the HTML and the CSS style sheet behind the entire form as well if you want to. So a lot of different things available to you in the left-hand column there. In the middle, you have the preview of your survey or your form, how it looks. You can see these dotted boxes around the different questions or components. They won't be visible, obviously, when you publish your form, but they are just here so you can see where the different questions start and end. Everything in the preview here is drag and drop, so you can just click and drag a question or a text box around to reorganize your content inside the preview here. If you want to add new options, you simply click the form item that you want to add, and you get a dialog box here where you can enter the question. For instance, do you like music? Great question. Yes, no. So you have your question, you have your answer options. You can decide if you would like to have text input as well. If none of these options are great for your respondent, they can put in some text. You can choose whether to align it vertically or horizontally, or whether you want to make this a required question so they cannot submit the form without having answered this question. And that's basically all you need to do to create a question. You just apply and your new question will be in your form. So that is as easy as it gets to add items to your form, to look at your preview, to drag and drop your questions around in the forms editor, and start building your content there. The contact registration, as I mentioned, is the question type that adds a new contact to your eMarketeer database. And when you edit that, you will see that you have all of the fields from your contact cards available here. So if you want to add company, for instance, or country to your form, you can do that. You can choose which of these are required. So if you require the company names to be filled out, you can click that and those fields would be required. You can drag and drop the fields around so they will sort over here as you would like to have the questions lined up. And then when you're done, you just click apply and you see the new fields that are available to you. So that's basically how you work with your form, with adding content and looking at your pages here. You have a thank you page, which is the page that's displayed once your form has been submitted. You can obviously double click and edit the content. You can add images and do lots more here if you want to. You can also use a custom URL. So instead of using this hosted thank you page, you can click here and just add a web URL or a link that people should be sent to once they've submitted your form. So that may be useful for you. There's also a confirmation page. The confirmation page can be activated by doing like this. And the confirmation page is really a page where your respondent will be able to review all of the answers that they've given. They can then edit their answers if they've done something wrong, or they can finish and submit the form to you. So maybe if this is an order form or an event registration with a lot of details, maybe activating the confirmation page is a good idea for peeps to review their answers and then clicking finish to finally submit them. Be aware that the answers are only submitted when they actually finish on this page. You can't edit this page, but obviously you can edit the top part here where you can enter some instructions for your respondents. And then lastly, we have the confirmation email as a system page. You can activate that if you want to. The confirmation email sends an email to the respondent with their answers. So this is kind of a confirming that you have now gotten these data from them and this is what they've submitted. You can add an edit link if you want to, so they can click the edit link and go back into their form to edit their answers. You can edit the label for that one, and you can change the sender address and change the subject line as you would please here. So if this is something that you're interested in, you just need to activate that, and you can send the confirmation email to your responding contact. A neat little thing here is actually you can also choose not to send it to the responding contact, but maybe you want to send it to sales at your company, for instance. So in this case, the confirmation email doesn't go to the person actually submitting the form. It goes to a shared inbox of your sales team, or it could be customer service or something like that. So you would gather in an inbox all the response emails here for people to follow up on or act on if they need to. So that's a lesser known feature that's available to you using the activation or the confirmation email. The top part here can be edited. I don't know if I said that already, but obviously just double click here to edit the top part. As you can see, there are elements that are on all of my different pages, the form pages, the confirmation page, and so on. And that is the header element and the footer element. So I can go ahead and change the header, for instance. Let's say I wanted more text there, or I wanted the logo on the right-hand side. Whatever I choose to put into the header, text, image, logo, and so on, will be represented on all of the form pages, confirmation pages, the individual question pages, and so on. So I have some shared elements. I could also put some information in the footer there, and that will be duplicated on all of my different pages. So those are some basic form editing good to knows if you don't know your way around the form editor. And obviously we'll drill into more awesome features and more details there. But this is the editor if you're not familiar with it. So, you know, a form is great, but obviously we want to have people visiting our form, and we want to have stuff happening after they visited our form, be it a registration or an evaluation, a survey, whatever it is. There's some kind of flow that brings people to that form. And if it's an invite, for instance, for an event, you have some survey or a confirmation. Getting some notice that people can't hear me. Josie, if you're online, I see you there. Could you just drop in the questions box and let me know? Okay, you can hear me. Cool. Shasti, which is odds, I'm telling you, you're the only one who can't hear me. Obviously, you won't hear that, but people respond that I am coming through. Thanks for letting me know. So if this is a survey, I want to have some people to invite, and I want to send them an email inviting them to participate in my survey or my event or whatever it is. And from the email, obviously, I should link to my questions, to my form. And once they have answered the form, maybe they should have some follow-up information, or if they haven't answered my form, I want to make sure that they are reminded automatically to please go ahead and answer my form. So that's kind of a simple survey flow. What I want to do at the same time is I want to make sure that I have reports that I can share with my colleagues. So if they're interested in knowing how people are responding to my survey, I can let them know by sharing a report with them, even though they don't have access to eMarketeer. And also, if people respond in a specific way, let's say that somebody's really negative in my survey or my evaluation, I want to make sure that the customer service team or the sales team or the account management team follows up with an action to make sure that we can maybe change that negative experience to something better. So if people answer, in this case, in a negative way, I want to make sure that I can tap the sales team or the customer service team on the shoulder saying, here's something that you should be aware of. So just a simple form flow. It can obviously be a lot bigger, but let's start with something that is comprehensible. So we're going to dive into a simple satisfaction survey and have a look at how that is pieced together and how we construct this survey flow from A to Z on autopilot. So let's go into my customer satisfaction survey. I'm gonna go back here. Here we are, and just get this demo form out of the way. So we had the invitation. Let me just zoom in here. I have a survey invitation, I have a survey form, and I have a survey reminder. So first of all, I want to make sure that I can send the invitation, that it links correctly to the form, and that the reminder goes off at a specific time to the people who haven't yet responded. Those are the first couple of things that I want to do. So I have my form here and I have my email, and just let me go into the email and show you how you link to your form and the different ways that you can link to a survey from the eMarketeer editor. I have a simple email here saying, take the survey, win a test drive, and I have a button that should take them to the survey. So double clicking the button here will open up the edit panel over here, and I can browse for my form. When I'm browsing for a form, link to eMarketeer form, it shows me the forms that I have in my entire eMarketeer account. But of course, it starts off with the campaign that I'm currently in, because that's probably where I want to link to. I choose my satisfaction form, and I can choose whether I want this to be an anonymous link or a personal link. Anonymous link means that the email won't tell the form who's visiting the form. So I can do an anonymous survey if I want to. Obviously, I can still ask for contact information if I need that, but that's the feature of the anonymous link. The personal link is pretty sweet, because the personal link tells the form who is visiting the form. So I can pre-populate, I can pre-fill the questions in the survey with the information I already have. So if I have their first name, last name, title, and so on, they don't need to spend time entering all that. It will just be pre-filled, pre-populated in the form already. So that's pretty nice with the personal link. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to click apply. And now this save, of course. Now this button is linked to my form. If I go ahead and copy my entire campaign, obviously the new email in the copy will link to the new form in the copy. So once I've done this, all the copies I create, they will be intact with links to their correct components and counterparts. Obviously, I can link text, I can link images and buttons. Everywhere where you can add a link in eMarketeer, you can link to your form. All right. I see some questions are coming through. That's great. Keep them coming, and I will make sure to pick up on them when they're relevant in the flow here. So just send me your questions as soon as they pop up. Thanks for sending some of those through. Then now my form, my invitation is linked to my form. I want to make sure that my survey reminder is sent out at the right time to the people who have not yet responded. So let's say I wanted to go ahead and send this campaign today, off it goes, and then people start replying to my or answering my survey here. Now I want to make sure that 2 weeks from now, a reminder goes out to everybody who received the invitation but haven't yet answered my survey. Okay, so let's go ahead and click send on the survey reminder. The survey reminder, of course, also links to the form. I'm going to say send. And then I'm going to not send it now, obviously, I want to schedule it. And here is where the magic happens. I am going to address a selection, because with the selection, I can add recipients based on things that are happening inside eMarketeer. So I'm going to say selection. And I want to look for things in my customer satisfaction survey. And first of all, I want to have everybody that were addressed with the invitation, right? So that's the first selection. That's my big group. Everybody that received the invitation is added to my send card. So those are the 22 contacts that I have sent this survey to. Then I'm going to go ahead and add more recipients. And in this case, again, selection, I'm going to say, okay, so now we have everybody that received the information, the invitation. Now I want to look at everybody that have submitted the form, right? So these would be the ones that shouldn't get the reminder, of course, because they got the invitation, they replied already and answered my form. So I'm going to add those to my send card. And then over here, I am going to choose block. Now, what this tells eMarketeer is when I choose to, here we are. When I choose to send out my scheduled reminder, it will initially be addressed to everybody that got the invitation, but eMarketeer will remove the persons who have already submitted the survey, of course, because they shouldn't be getting the reminder. So that's it. I can set it and forget it. I choose a date. Let's do 2 weeks from now at 11 o'clock. That's it. That's all I need to do. I set it and forget it, and then eMarketeer keeps tabs on how many people got the invitation, how many people have already responded, and I can go ahead and schedule my email, and now it is awaiting to be sent. So that's pretty nice. I don't need to think about exporting people who've already answered and subtracting them from my send out list. It all just happens automatically. Now, as you can see, if I zoom in a little bit, there is a little icon here that says this component is scheduled. Obviously, I scheduled it 2 weeks in advance to be sent to the people I would like to have received my reminder. If for some reason something goes haywire here and I see I don't need to send the reminder, I have plenty of answers or whatever, I want to change something, I can always go into the event history tab here where you can see the stuff that's planned for the future. So here you can see that I have an email survey reminder that's scheduled to go out in 2 weeks to the people who have been addressed, and minus the people who have already submitted. It says blog over here. So that's my recipe for my reminder. That's great. But if I wanted to block it or cancel it, I can just go ahead and click abort, and then the scheduled reminder will be deleted from the event history page here. Then I can go back and set another reminder or whatever it is I want to do. But I just wanted to highlight that event history tab there is where you can abort or cancel future send outs that you've scheduled. So now the email is out. People are starting to answer my form, and then of course in eMarketeer I have reports that looks at the performance of my survey here. I can see who've answered. I can see a preview. I have my form results. I can see how things are going. And this is all swell for me, at least, because I have access to eMarketeer. But maybe I want to make sure that my management team or my colleagues in sales or whomever without access to eMarketeer can also follow up on what is going on with the survey and keep tabs on the development here. And for that purpose, you can share your reports. So I'm going to click share, and I can give it a name, results for CUST survey 2021. I can give it a description. I can choose to add a password. I can choose which tabs to publish. You will see the tabs in just a second. So you can choose only to have the results and the charts published, for instance. You can choose to hide personal identifiable information if you want to. And you can hide question fields as well. I don't need to do all of that, but just to let you know that it's there. Then I click save and publish. And now a new link is available for me here that I can open, and which will be an online, always up-to-date version of my form report. So if I share this with my colleagues, I send it to them on Teams or Slack or email or whatever, whenever they open this report, it will always contain the latest answers. Here you can see the tabs, dashboard, form results, spreadsheets, and traffic that are available on the report. You can also choose to hide the tabs and just have, for instance, this one with the form results. That is pretty sweet. easy for me to share results with someone else. Now, if this was an event registration, for instance, maybe I wanted to share the dinner signups with my hotel or the catering company, or if I have a transport partner that is supposed to shuttle people around, maybe I need to share a transport manifest or something like that with external partners. And I can do that with the shared reports. I don't have to send Excel files back and forth that are outdated the second I send them. So pretty sweet. Let's go back here and close this one. And the shared reports that you've done, they will always be available over here on the shared reports. So if you want to get back and see which reports you've done, you can just click there. You will see the reports. And of course, you can delete reports as well, and then the link won't be active anymore. Okay, so there's that on the forms here. I just want to highlight as well that you can filter your forms. So for instance, in this case, I have 8 people who've registered, 4 would like to recommend us and 4 would not like to recommend us. I can click the numbers here and filter my report based on those clicks. So for instance, I click 4 and see which people did not want to recommend us. And then I can click filter, and now the report will be filtered to only include the respondents that answered, would you recommend us to your friends? No way. And then I can share a report with our customer service team saying, hey, have a look at the answers, all the negative answers we've got in this survey. Here you can drill down on what's important for the people who have not, who didn't want to recommend us. So when you share a report, the filter will also be, the report result in the shared report will also be filtered. All right. Now, once my survey is out, I may want at some point to close the survey. If for some reason that, like after a survey date or after an event date, obviously I can go ahead and close my my survey if I want to. So when I have my my form here, I can go to the publish page. And here I have some different options of publishing the form. I can get my URL for the form. I can get form code or iframe, so I can embed it on my website or in a mobile app. And then I also have the open and close form options here. And here you can choose what should happen with your forms and when. So for instance, visitor settings. You can allow multiple answers from anyone. So you can send the form out, the invitation out. People can register over and over and over and gather results there. You can also say, okay, I will allow multiple answers, but only unique contacts can register for new answers, meaning that my email address can only submit one answer to that form, so I can't keep answering the questions, the satisfaction survey more than one time. And you can even limit it to your link is only possible to answer once, and then a message will be displayed saying you've already answered, thanks for your time, or something like that. You can then also choose to always have your form open. You can close it. You can close it when a specific number of answers have been reached, or you can close it at a specific time and date. And then you can give a close message to the persons who are clicking the form link after the survey has closed, either because it's reached the target or it's been closed by a specific date and time. So I just wanted to make you aware of the open close form features over there, because they're nice. There's no need to have an event registration form or a survey form out there after the deadline or after the form should be closed. You can go ahead and close that off. All right. So just let me nip back to my survey flow just real quick to here we are. So we've sent the invitation, they're answering, I've reminded, I've shared reports with my colleagues. But now we're getting to this part where we want to make sure that if people answer that they wouldn't recommend us, I want to make sure that someone can take action and follow up on that. So let's go ahead and set that up. In the form, there is a question you may recall from the report that says, would you like to recommend us? Would you consider recommending us to your friends, yes or no? And I want to make sure that if people answer no, that my customer service team is aware of this and they can take action. So I'm going to add an automation to this campaign that sends a notification to my customer service team when they have when we receive an answer saying, no, I don't want to recommend you. So I'm going to go to the add automation, and here are all the automations I can do. So there are lots of stuff, obviously, you can do. Send emails, SMSs, add to lists. You could also imagine you would add all of the negative respondents to a list, and then you have good tabs on them there, so you can follow up with an additional email asking them more questions about whatever problem they had. Those are all yours to play around with. But I wanted to make sure that you knew about the send notification automation in this case. The send notification is neat. Mail to cust service when negative reply. It's a bit of a long description. And then I can add an email address. Who should get a notification? When someone in my survey answers in a specific way, namely, would you consider recommending us to your friends? No. So this is the automation trigger. When this happens, someone answers no, an email notification goes off to the customer, sir, make sure to spell correctly, to your customer service team when that happens. That's all you need to do. Then real time, automatically an email will be sent off to your customer service team or your sales team or the account managers. You can also add more addresses by separating them with a semicolon or a comma here. You can add more email addresses as well, so they will more notification emails will be sent. You can also send SMSs, so if you want to get an SMS when something like this happens, you can do that as well. I'm going to save that automation, and then it will be in the automations list down here. Mail to customer service team on negative reply. When a question is in the satisfaction survey is answered in a specific way, send notification. And then that just happens automatically. And then when we are in the inbox of the customer service team, the notification will pop up. From eMarketeer notification. It says this notification is sent to you because an event that you subscribe to has occurred. And then it shows me who has submitted this form. I'm getting it because a question in the form evaluation was answered in a specific way. And here I can see the answers that Cynthia gave to this survey. And of course, the fact that she gave a big old no here, that she didn't want to recommend us to her friends. So now the customer service team, they have the information, they have the contact details, and they can get right on figuring out what has gone wrong. They can see the replies that she gave to the form, to the question there, so they have everything they need right there in their inbox. So pretty sweet and pretty neat way to make sure that you get all of the information into the right people's inboxes or hands when they need it. Okay, so we're pretty much done with our survey flow here. We've got the invitations out, the responses, the reports, the notifications. But also, as a marketer or as the manager of this survey or this event or whatever it is I'm using this form for, I want to have an overview of the general performance. And I've built a dashboard just for that. The dashboard is a tab you have available over there in your campaign. And here you can add charts to focus on what's important with this specific campaign. So for instance, I've added a funnel chart here that looks at how many emails has been sent, how many people have opened, and how many people have clicked this email. And this gives me a conversion rate from step to step, how my email is performing there. So they're getting the email, they're clicking it, they're opening and they're clicking it. I can also see how many survey responses I have gotten in this case. Now I have 8. My target was 20, so my progress is 40%. I can see how many surveys are submitted. I can add different gauges. Obviously, these are all showing the same figures from this small campaign, but I just wanted to highlight that these reports are really easy to build. You just go ahead and click Add Report Widget, and you can add these widgets to your campaign dashboard. You can also share, just like the form report, you can share the entire dashboard. So if you have Let's say this was an event registration. You have an event funnel, number of registered participants, number of responses to the event evaluation. You can put all of that on a dashboard and you can share it with your colleagues. They don't need to have access to eMarketeer to get all of that. So that is really all of the bells and whistles with the flow and how you can share information with your peers in your organization with what's going on with your surveys and forms. All right, let's move on to some of the lesser known features of the forms that you're able to do in eMarketeer. First of all, let's look at rules. Rules are really cool because they help you manage what content your respondent is seeing. It can hide and show content. It can guide the respondent through your questionnaire in the best possible way. So let's go ahead and look at rules in the form builder. So I'm in my form. I have the ability to edit, of course, and let's zoom in on some of the questions I have here in this form. I have a contact registration, and then I have these questions, event location, and I have, are you staying for dinner and drinks? And I want to have a couple of things happen with these questions here. And when I mouse over the questions, you'll see the toolbar and you have the rules button there. Go ahead and check that out. There are some pretty neat things happening behind that button. So I'm clicking rules. And in this case, I want to make sure that I don't overbook my event. I have a specific number of tickets available in Copenhagen and another number of tickets available in Oslo. And I want to make sure that I don't overbook. So I can click my different answer options. And in this case, I can say disable the Copenhagen option after 80 answers to Copenhagen. Then Copenhagen will be disabled from the form and people can only sign up for Oslo, because then I won't oversell or overbook my event there. So that's pretty neat that you're able to easily manage how many answers every answer option is able to accept. Then I have this question about dietary requirements. So if people are staying for dinner and drinks, I can show these questions, but it's obviously only relevant if they have said yes to are you staying for dinner. I don't need to ask them whether they would like vegetarian food if they're not staying for dinner. It's not important for me. Likewise, on the rules button, you will see a display option available. And I click display, and I get to choose when this question should be shown. Obviously, it's per default always showing, but I can go ahead and change that to look for a specific answer. In this case, I'm looking at, are you staying for dinner and drinks? And I'm saying if they answered yes, this question should be displayed. That's it. So the small pins here will show you that you have rules set on these questions. If you mouse over the pin, it will tell you if it's a display rule, if it's a disable rule, just so you can see it in the editor. All right, so let's have a look and see how this, what this looks like live when we publish the form. Let's visit the form. Here we are. This is what the respondent would see. I'm visiting the form and I can see Copenhagen is already disabled, so I can't choose that. Apparently that's sold out. So I could go ahead and choose Oslo, of course. And if I say, are you staying for dinner and drinks? Yes, the dietary requirements would pop up there, so I can answer that. So that is using rules to help you decide how many tickets or seats or answers you would accept on the different options and which questions to display in your form. The next thing we're going to look at is skipping. You can also do that with rules, because the straight way through your questionnaire might not always be the right way through your questionnaire. You want to make sure that you're not showing content or asking questions that aren't relevant based on answers that your respondent has given. So let's look at this scenario. We are accepting registrations to Copenhagen and Oslo. That's page 1 of my form. Then page 2 has specific information about the Copenhagen event, maybe which tours I want to go on or which hotel I'm staying at. And the Oslo event, well, same thing, but for Oslo. And obviously, people joining the Copenhagen event, they shouldn't be seeing the Oslo page. So from the first page, it would go to either page 2 or page 3, and then go off to page 4, which is the thank you page. And you do that with skip logic or rules to help you navigate correctly through the questionnaire. So let's jump back into my questionnaire and see how we go about doing this. Here's the first page. And on page 2, as you will recall, I had the Copenhagen information, and page 3 is the Oslo information. So the first thing I want to do is that if people end up on page 2, it means that they've signed up for the Copenhagen event. So clicking next shouldn't bring them to page 3. It should bring them to the thank you page. It should skip page 3. So if I simply click the next button here in my editor, I can choose what happens here. I can change the caption, the label on the button, and I can choose that instead of going to the next page, it should go to the thank you page. Then the Oslo page will simply be skipped. That's it. And then I obviously need to figure out that if people answer Oslo, they shouldn't see the Copenhagen page. So I'm going to go to the first page here. Oh, sorry. First page, and I'm going to add a rule for Oslo. So if I click rules, and if they choose Oslo, it should skip to page 3, which means that it will skip page 2, which is the Copenhagen info, and go straight to page 3, which is the Oslo page. And once they've completed that page, it will end up on the thank you page. Then my result of getting people through my first page, either go to the Copenhagen page or the Oslo page, and then end up on the thank you page, is achieved. So pretty cool skipping, nice option for you to check out. Another not so known feature in forms is your ability to reload automatically a form over and over again, which is great, for instance, if you're at a trade show or you have a booth where you have an iPad where people can submit information, maybe to participate in a contest or be contacted by a product expert or whatever it is. You want to have a form that keeps reloading itself. And here's how you go about doing that. In your form campaign here, you would go to the publish, and you would go to the direct URL option up here. This is where you would get the link to your form. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm just going to select and copy the address to the form. And then I'm keeping this on my clipboard, and I'm going into my form to edit it. And then I'm going to the thank you page over here. The thank you page is, as you will recall, is the page that will be shown when they have submitted your form. But in this case, I would not like to show the thank you page. I would like the form to reload so it's ready for another respondent to answer. So I'm going to choose use custom URL, paste in my form code, and update. And the form will keep reloading. So you don't need any interference getting the form back on track after somebody has submitted the form. So on your iPad, for instance, if you're loading your form onto your iPad, run that in kiosk mode so that people can't use the iPad for other purposes than just entering your form there. People will submit their details, and when they submit the form, it will reload with an empty form and be ready for the next respondent. So that's a pretty neat way of getting a lead gen or a contact details capture form on a phone or on an iPad out at a booth, for instance, or in your reception in your company where people are visiting you. Okay, so the next tip here is how you can identify where traffic comes from to your survey or to your form or to your registration. Let's say I'm doing a webinar. Hypothetically, I'm using an eMarketeer form to capture registrants for a webinar, just like this. I'm using this webinar on our website. I'm posting this registration form on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm sharing this registration form with partners, with colleagues, and they can all help me generate traffic to this form. It's pretty cool because I just need one form that can capture all of the answers and all of the automation that happens on that form. I just need to set that up once, but I would like to be able to identify who is best at generating answers to my form. And you can do that by using the traffic feature in your form. So we are again in my form, and I'm going to the publish options. And once again, I'm getting my URL for my form. Now we're going to dissect this URL a little because it has some hidden features. So I'm copying the URL and I'm showing you how the URL is constructed. The first gray part here is just the eMarketeer link that makes the form work. The red part here is the form ID. Don't need to do anything about that. For God's sake, don't change it. But the last orange bit here, that bit is for you to use. By default, it says origin equals direct, but you can go ahead and change that to something that's more meaningful. So for instance, you can change it to origin equals social media or Google Ads or sales or Mark or whatever. You can even change the label. So it could be sales rep equals Mark, and I would hand that link off to Mark. Sales rep equals Louise, and you could hand that over to Louise. So each and every one of the traffic sources that you would like to be able to track and measure performance on, you can create another origin equals or social rep equals or whatever label you want to add and append that to your URL. Then as you go ahead and share that and form answers come in, you will be able to use the traffic report over here to see what's been going on. So if we zoom in a little bit, I can see my tracker origin had 3 different values: direct, sales, and Google Ads. So obviously this is the form link maybe I've added on my website. This is the link that I've given to my sales team, and this is the link that I've run Google Ads on. And I can see how many answers to my form came through these different sources. Pretty nice. And it allows me to answer a lot of questions like which social media channel generates most traffic or most answers to my surveys and forms, which sales rep or partner generates most leads, which website generates most conversions. Because again, if you embed your form on different sites, you can use different traffic tags in the link, and you would get an idea of which sites are sending you traffic to your registrations. All right, we are closing in on our time we have available today. So I want to make sure that you fire off the questions that you have for me now, so I can go ahead and try to answer it as best I can. So while you're typing, I just want to make you aware that we have a lot of information on forms in general on our support site. So at support.eMarketeer.com, go ahead and check out the different help articles that are there that are helpful for you. We also have a lot of on-demand webinars on our website, eMarketeer.com/webinars. So these are recorded webinars, just like this one, or live webinars that have been recorded, and you can just see them in your own time when it suits you. We have a lot of different topics there for you to have a look at. So that may be something that you want to check out. I hope to see you on some of those at least. Okay, so if you have questions, send them my way. Here's a question from Kirsten. How do you style and change the look and feel of the form? All right, thank you for that question. Keep them coming. So I'm going to go into my editor here. We had that demo form that I created, so I can go ahead and play around with that one. So in the form builder itself, you won't see any ability to edit the style of the form. This one basically just lets you focus on adding questions and moving things around. In the text box or the rich text field, you can add images, you can format, you can add fonts and colors, and you have a little bit more wiggle room when you have these text boxes. But overall, you would be looking at the fonts and colors option in your left option, Kirsten, here, edit fonts and colors. And here you can change the fonts, the sizes, the styling, the colors of the fonts, the background colors and grid colors of your questionnaire, how that looks. You can even, if you have competencies in HTML and CSS, you can go into the CSS, the style sheet of the form, and really change completely the look and feel. You can make the questionnaire more transparent. You can add background images. You can add rounded corners. You can change the look and feel of the button. So it can be completely revamped to your look and feel. So if that's something that you're familiar with, you really have a lot of options there. I mean, we can do some basic edits, for instance, let me see, we've got my button over there. That's input type button. I can see here the border radius is 3. Just if I just change that to 30 pixels instead of 3 and apply that, you will see the button changes shape. So every element here can be manipulated, designed in the fonts and colors and on the HTML tab up there. That's the way to go about that. And obviously, you don't need to do this every time. You do your design or have our support team help you out on that one. And then once you're happy with the way that this looks, when you're done, you can go ahead on the form. Here we are, click the More Actions button here, and there you have Make Template. So you click Make Template, and then every time you want to add a new form, you will have a My Templates tab where your specific forms will be available with your new design. So I hope that answered that question. Let's see, are there more questions coming through at this point? Let's see. Here's a question from John. This is in Danish. Just a second. Can you deliver surveys via SMS? Yes, absolutely. I just showed you an email here, John, but obviously, if I wanted to, I can add an SMS. Just the same. I'm going to call this survey invite SMS. I'm going to choose an empty SMS. And here I am in the text messenger editor. So I'm going to say, hi, first name. Just merge in a name here. Hi, first name. Please let me know if you have any feedback by answering this short survey. And then you can link. And just like you did in the email, you would go browse to a form. You would choose the form from your campaign, in this case, satisfaction survey. I'm choosing personal link, select and apply. And then the link goes into my SMS. Now, as you can see here, that link is very, very long, but rest assured that eMarketeer will automatically shorten that link for you, because this link obviously has the form ID, the person's identity, and so on when they click that, but obviously it should be short and sweet when it's displayed on the mobile phone. Best regards, there you go. So this is the way that you would link to a form from an SMS, and then when they open the form, it's responsive, it looks good on the mobile phone when they click from that message there. So you go ahead and click Save, and your SMS with a link to the survey is good to go. Okay, I hope that was an answer to your question, John. Thanks for that. At this point, there are no more questions coming through. So just wanted to thank you for your time today, and I hope to see you on some of our future webinars. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.